Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings, and we are getting crazy news coming from Jordan Peterson and his family describing how he nearly died, had a near-death experience because of a widely prescribed psychoactive narcotic called benzo. And that's why in this video I do believe that there's a lot to discuss here, especially about the pharma industrial complex, a rise of a nation that's being prescribed and sometimes overprescribed big pharma psychoactive medicines, which surprisingly at the same time is correlated with the increase of mental health issues that are becoming more prevalent. And that's why we're going to discuss that, plus a lot more on an independent media organization that's pretty much financed by you and your support. And one simple way you can support us is by simply wearing a t-shirt. Whatever your discontent in mainstream media, society, Hollywood, politics is, we most likely will have a shirt that will represent your disappointment with the bottom line, main line kind of thinking. So yeah, check out the store. They're definitely great conversation starters, and also one way where you could make sure that we continue to make videos for you every single day for free on this independent news channel. Now, to be clear, I don't officially have any relationship with Jordan Peterson. He previously followed me on Twitter. We DM'd a little bit. He sent me a copy of his book before it came out that was signed. But other than that, I really don't have any kind of ties or relationship to Jordan Peterson. Some views I agree with him on. Some of them I disagree with him on. But pretty much, I mean, basically he was kind of a thinker that reminded people to wash their gonads. A self-help guy that did make an impact on a lot of people's lives. He was a controversial figure because he refused to call people by their preferred gendered pronouns and was a major symbol and critic of, quote, woke culture. And this, of course, is one of the reasons why some individuals that are pretty sick and choose clicks over morality are celebrating this latest news development, saying that he, quote, deserved this. And in my opinion, this is definitely very tasteless, especially when someone is going through a major medical emergency, which of course was highlighted by Jordan Peterson's daughter, who came out with this video that we will be playing excerpts from. Kayla Peterson goes on and describes the current situation as this.
The last year has been extremely difficult for our family. Dad was put on a low dose of a benzodiazepine a few years ago for anxiety following an extremely severe autoimmune reaction to food. He took the medication as prescribed. Last April, when my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer, the dose of the medication was increased.
Now, before continuing on, the drug that Peterson's daughter mentions is, of course, a very strong and dangerous psychoactive narcotic that, in short, is called benzos, and it could kill someone because of the physical withdrawal symptoms due to the seizures it causes when people try to not take it. And just by even making a simple post about this drug, I've been getting a lot of different responses here, with individuals describing how this drug wrecked their life, cost them their wife, as this person describes that his life has not been the same ever since their family has been in contact with it. And again, Peterson's daughter specifically said that Jordan was taking this drug as prescribed because many people point to the fact that this drug is extremely addictive and extremely dangerous if it is misused. Michaela goes on.
It became apparent that he was suffering from both a physical dependency and a paradoxical reaction to the medication. A paradoxical reaction means the drugs do the opposite of what they're supposed to. These reactions are rare but not unheard of. For the last 8 months, he's been in unbearable discomfort from this drug, made worse when trying to remove it because of the additional withdrawal symptoms stemming from physical dependence.
Wow. And when we're talking about an extremely strong, powerful drug doing the opposite of what it's supposed to do, and you can't get off of it, I mean, that just sounds absolutely terrifying. And investigating and studying previous cases of just big pharma abuse and the opioid epidemic, I could only imagine what people are calling Jordan Peterson's absolute hell of a year.
He experienced terrible akathisia, which is a condition where the person feels an incredible endless, irresistible restlessness bordering on panic, and an inability to sit still. The reaction made him suicidal. After several failed treatment attempts in North American hospitals, including attempts at tapering and micro-tapering, we had to seek an emergency medical benzodiazepine detox, which we were only able to find in Russia.
Wow. Okay, so there's more context here that I also want to unfold, specifically talking about our medical system compared to Russian medical system. But before we get into that, again, the responses I'm getting are showing me that this is more common than we thought, as I'm getting tons of messages of people describing sleep paralysis for every night for 2 years trying to get off of this drug. A lot of people would experience with them or explaining it as worse than the illness that they are supposed to be treating. And seeing the response here is just stunning, seeing so many people affected by this. Now, I want to make sure I want to talk about this issue very carefully, because there are particular important gray zones in this topic that I'm going to be bringing up. But specifically, we do have to acknowledge that there has been a huge mental health decrease, especially in the Western world. Along with that, we have seen the rise of psychoactive antidepressants, SSRIs, and other drugs that do alter our very complex, very misunderstood brain chemistry, something that is very incredibly difficult to understand with an individual, but something that, of course, Big Pharma, especially here in the United States, usually overdiagnoses and overprescribes these particular medicines, which the response, and everyone needs to know this, is very big side effects, very significant ones, which include the risk of suicide, violence, and homicide from people of all ages. Because if you mess with people's brain chemistry, there's going to be a lot of unknown ramifications because of that. And this is why many of the recent mass shooters that we have seen were on either a psychoactive SSRI or antidepressant that was prescribed to them. This is a topic usually shunned away from the mainstream media, not really talked about, not really delved into as much as restricting the rights of fellow Americans is. But this is, of course, a correlation worth considering and looking into. And of course, it's not proven outright, but there definitely needs to be more research in this particular field, especially when it comes to opening up a conversation and transparency against the big pharma industrial complex. Now, do all people list very negative side effects and addictions because of these medications? No. There's even one particular individual that responded to me that talked about how one of these drugs actually helped him out a lot. But as highlighted with what's happening to Peterson, the consequences for abusing these things is also very significant and a threat, not only to individuals, but to, of course, everyone around us. Especially from a medical system, a pharma industrial complex system that prioritizes sometimes profit over human life, as been documented previously before with the opioid epidemic, since of course you can make a lot more money off of suffering individuals rather than individuals that could be fixed. And this is one of the flaws and one of the criticisms that has been levied against particularly American medical systems, where a bastardized insurance system and overpriced medical corruption rarely sees private care. And most of the medical facilities and medical care is done through state, national, or insurance levels, and more in the hands of big, antiquated systems that are not private systems. Now, keep that in mind as we hear more from Peterson's daughter.
We had to seek an emergency medical benzodiazepine detox, which we were only able to find in Russia. It was incredibly grueling and was further complicated by severe pneumonia, which we've been told he developed in one of the previous hospitals. He's had to spend 4 weeks in the ICU in terrible shape, but with the help of some extremely competent and courageous doctors, he survived. The decision to bring him to Russia was made in extreme desperation when we couldn't find any better option. The uncertainty around his recovery has been one of the most difficult and scary experiences we've ever had.
So at this Western hospital, he gets pneumonia. They increase his dosage and can't help him deal with the symptoms. Again, Peterson's daughter had to say that we had to take a risk. Doctors had to take a chance all the way in Russia to take care of this. Now, why specifically Russia? Well, they did that there because of a special facility that deals with these addictions and have more private medical care facilities that are incentivized towards treating and curing diseases, not prolonging them and the side effects to hook clients in for the long haul. Now, of course, Jordan Peterson is not a citizen of Russia, so he had to pay out of pocket for a private facility that hasn't been affected by the pharma industrial complex like the majority of healthcare places in the United States have been. Now here, at the end of this video, we finally have a little bit of good news, and here it is.
Damage that he needs to recover from. He's improving and is off of the horrible medication. His sense of humor is back. He's smiling again for the first time in months, but he still has a long way to go to recover fully. It appears that we're going to get through this by the skin of our teeth.
And yeah, that definitely sounds like it, and it sounds like absolute hell, as described here, with brave medical professionals in Russia willing to take on this job, where of course most Western doctors failed, and it's appalling to see people be laid victim towards something that their doctors gave them. As of course, there has been a continual nasty trend, especially in the United States, with many unsuspecting individuals getting hooked and addicted to big pharma medicines that end up destroying their lives. We have an opioid epidemic that is ripping this country apart, where I even personally was affected and saw someone in front of me die because of this addiction that has been spread all throughout the United States. While sick, twisted individuals finagle and manipulate the system while getting rich off of the human suffering that it caused. And again, seeing a lot of these problems translated into real life problems and effects that I've personally seen. Even dating someone that I really liked that was addicted to psychoactive antidepressant drugs that couldn't get off of them, that was affecting their mood. Seeing the individuals and their lives ravaged because of these addictions that they didn't even know about. This is why it's important to be able to actually have a conversation about this and at least let people know the warning signs, the possible dangers that comes with these drugs that many times people aren't told about. There is no universal truth to deal with this complex problem, but again, it's all based on individual actions. And there's a lot of different actions that you could take, and they're all unique to you. Some people talk about the benefits of nature, meditation, sun, exercise, or diet, or family, helping them deal with, of course, severe mental health issues, while others talk about pharma medicine actually helping them out. There's other individuals who talked about trying to get off very serious addictions cold turkey, while others use the assistance of other pharma medicine to get off the pharma medicine that they are on, or others even talk about alternative routes with ibogaine. But what's important here, again, I have to keep reiterating here, there is no one-stop solution to all of this, but you should be made aware of all the possibilities, of all the information about this, and use what happened to Jordan Peterson as a warning sign, as something to be extremely vigilant and careful about. And me, even just bringing up this kind of middle line thinking will still get me in trouble. Most likely, the least thing that will happen is this video will get demonetized, like most of our videos get demonetized. But again, people are getting eviscerated, deleted, having their whole livelihoods deleted for even having these types of discussions. This is why you sharing these types of videos, supporting independent media is more crucial than ever. And because you individuals do, because you're still with me all the way at the end of this video, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And this is why I try to end every one of my videos by saying, love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.